Welcome to Sustainable Futures with Daniela Bass, where innovation meets impact. Join me every first and the third Saturday at 10 a.m. Central European Time for engaging conversations with visionaries reshaping industries like fashion, tech, tourism, sports, and more through social fairness and sustainability. As a global leader and change maker, I share fresh insights and actionable ideas to inspire meaningful change and drive results. Tune in, subscribe, and help shape a brighter, sustainable future. Indigenous women are among the most powerful yet often unheard leaders shaping our world today, protecting culture, defending land, and guiding communities toward more sustainable futures. Today, I would like to dedicate this episode of my podcast to the voices, leadership, and resilience of Indigenous women around the world. And this episode is also dedicated to the work of the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, a unique global platform where Indigenous peoples bring their knowledge, perspectives, and priorities directly into international dialogue. Across continents and cultures, Indigenous women have long been leaders. They're guardians of languages, keepers of ancestral knowledge, protectors of biodiversity, and increasingly powerful voices in political and social leadership. Their leadership often emerges not only from formal titles, but from a profound connection with community, culture, and the natural world. And today, in a time of global transformation and uncertainty, their perspectives are more relevant than ever, in my view. And before speaking about institutions or policies, it is important to listen to the voices of Indigenous cultures themselves. Across the world, Indigenous women keep their culture alive through powerful vocal traditions. From Inuit throat singing in the Arctic to Māori waiata in New Zealand, or the Sámi joik in southern Scandinavia, or Mexican ones praising women's strength. And these voices carry knowledge, memory, and identity across generations. And these traditions are not only artistic expressions, they're ways of connecting people with their environment and also their ancestors.
Nos despedimos y damos gracias de la energía de Chipetotec, la energía de las mujeres muertas en el parto, aquellas guerreras que ofrendaron su vida por dar una nueva vida, aquellas guerreras que acompañan al sol en su camino. We honor the direction of the woman, the direction of Chipetotec, of renovation. Atecocote.
Through the voice, the performer evokes landscapes, spirits, and memories to me that belong to generations before her. And I think it reminds us that Indigenous knowledge systems are often transmitted not only through written text or formal institutions, but through sound, storytelling, and ceremony. And in my experience, in many communities, women play a central role in preserving these traditions. Indigenous leadership takes many forms. Sometimes it emerges through cultural expression, sometimes through activism and community organization, and sometimes it appears in the most visible arenas of political life. And one powerful example of Indigenous leadership in action can be seen in the Parliament of New Zealand. In New Zealand, a young Māori member of Parliament drew global attention when she performed a haka in Parliament during a debate. Well, you will agree with me that the haka is more than a performance. It is a language of identity, solidarity, and courage. And seeing it brought into a national parliament reminds us that Indigenous leadership today moves between tradition and modern institution. And it also reminds us that culture and political leadership are deeply connected. So, Indigenous women leaders often embody this bridge, carrying ancestral identity into spaces where, originally they were not built to be listened. And Indigenous women leaders navigate between ancestral knowledge and contemporary systems, between local communities and global institutions, and increasingly they bring these perspectives into international fora. Across the world, Indigenous women are speaking out about identity, justice, dignity, and the future of their communities, and their voices challenge systems that have too often marginalized Indigenous peoples and their knowledge. But they also offer solutions rooted in community, intergenerational responsibility, and respect for nature. In my view, these voices remind us that leadership is not only about authority. It is about courage, it is about speaking truth, and it is about creating spaces for future generations. And, cultural resistance is one of the strongest foundations of Indigenous identity and leadership. Across the world, music, dance, ceremony, and oral tradition keep communities connected through generations and cultural belonging. It builds confidence and it ensures that the wisdom of the past continues to guide the future. When culture is kept alive in public space, it does more than preserve memory. It becomes a form of leadership. So the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues exists for Indigenous peoples to bring their voices directly into the global dialogue. But beyond the formal discussions, the forum also symbolizes something larger. It symbolizes the growing understanding that sustainable development cannot be credible if it excludes Indigenous knowledge systems, because the future of sustainability is not only technological, it is also cultural. It is relational, and it is deeply human. So, my friends, as we look towards the future, the leadership of Indigenous women offers something profoundly important. It reminds us that leadership is not only about power. It is about responsibility, it is about inclusion, and responsibility also toward community. Responsibility toward culture, responsibility toward the earth, and perhaps, most importantly, responsibility toward the generations that will follow. So, today, through this episode, I would like to honor Indigenous women around the world, their courage, their wisdom, their resilience, and their leadership. Because when Indigenous women lead, they do not only shape their communities, they help shape a more balanced and sustainable future for all of us. As I wrap up this episode, my heartfelt gratitude to today's guest and to all of you. Join me for the next episode as we delve deeper with special guests, uncovering thought-provoking insights and actionable steps, paving the way for a brighter, inclusive, sustainable tomorrow. Thanks also to Damian Morton, music, and Maria Cortez Galliano, social media. Don't miss out next episode on shaping the future we aspire to. Ciao, ciao!